Chris, welcome to the program. Could you tell us...
Thank you, David.
Not at all. Could you tell us just what is the rule of law and why is it important?
It's a pretty fundamental set of principles which underpin the Constitution. The same law, broadly, the same law should apply to everybody equally. There's a number of associated principles, such as the presumption of innocence and the right to a fair trial. Entire books have been written about this concept. It's found in most jurisdictions that originate or have a link back to the Westminster system in Britain. That doesn't mean to say they have to have a Westminster system of government. The United States, for example, is a bastion of the rule of law and specifically rejected the Westminster system. But it's found in places like Canada, New Zealand, this country particularly, and it's a guide, if you like, for guarding against arbitrary rule, and dictatorship is probably the best way of describing it. So we don't have a Bill of Rights, a national Bill of Rights. In many ways, the rule of law and the principles associated with it fill the void left by the absence of a Bill of Rights, and they protect the liberty of the individual against the arbitrary use of power by the state generally. That's how I'd sum it up. It's probably a rough summary, but that's broadly what it's all about.
And they make the big distinction, don't they, when we're trying to put it over in a very simple way. It's the difference between the rule of law and the rule by men in their own absolute
exactly
discretion.
Right.
And that's so important, isn't it? And I think you've explained it well, and the Rule of Law Institute, of which you're Vice President, is a very significant organisation maintaining support for all of these important principles. You've been commenting in considerable detail and commendable detail, because it's been so explanatory, on the inquiry going on in Canberra conducted by the Queensland Solicitor General. I'm not sure if he's the current Solicitor General or the former, Walter Sofronoff, King's Counsel. And what is that inquiry all about, Chris?
It's broadly into the key players in the rape trial of Bruce Lerman. This is the Brittany Higgins rape trial. You might recall that Bruce Lerman was charged with sexually assaulting Miss Higgins in Parliament House in Canberra. The jury was discharged after misconduct by one juror, and the DPP, Mr. Drumgold, spectacularly held a press conference at which he announced that there would not be a retrial because of his concerns for the health of Miss Higgins. But more to the point, at that press conference, he expressed a view that he still was confident that he could have achieved a conviction against Mr. Lerman, which is a rather strange thing to say when you've decided not to prosecute a man. First things first, it calls into question his presumption of innocence. But more significantly for the people of the ACT, that means either of two things. Either the DPP believes there's a rapist walking around free in the streets of Canberra, or the ACT justice system is incapable of enforcing a very serious part of the criminal law. So on both those aspects, it's completely necessary and welcome that the government of the ACT decided to hold an inquiry into this.